So to those individual holding Bitcoin and Ethereum at the moment, I suggest you guys to watch this video till the end, because in this video I will be sharing with you some of the most interesting scenarios unfolding right now in price action of Bitcoin and price action of Ethereum. So before I do that, please let's destroy that like button and let's try to reach at least 1000 like in this video. Thank you very much. Now, first thing first, looking at this price action of Ethereum, you can see it clearly shows us that we are following this parabolic curve pattern, and according to this parabolic curve pattern, you can see Ethereum has already formed base 4, right? This is base 4, and now we could be preparing ourselves for another continuation, which might look somehow like this. I mean, the price of Ethereum after some sideways movement, right, could be starting with another parabolic move, and only after that a reversal in this manner. Yes, you heard that correctly, guys. If you look at this price action of Ethereum at the moment, we have already formed base 1, base 2, base 3, and this here, according to this curve pattern, could be our base 4. So after base 4, if this bullish continuation continues, then after base 4 we have another parabolic move towards the sell point, which could be bringing the price of Ethereum above 4,000 and even near to the previous high, and only after that to start with the reversal, which might look somehow like this. Yes, you heard that correctly, guys. Ethereum right now looks like showing weakness, but if you look at this base 4, weakness or sideways movement is absolutely normal. We might come out of this track, right? It doesn't mean we have to follow this curve pattern like this. So we might come below this trend line, but at the end we are expecting a continuation like this to play out. So any sort of a pullback, you can see it could be just a temporary pullback. And why? Because if you look at this price action here in a smaller time frame, I mean, by simply adding a falling trend line during uptrend, whenever the price of Ethereum was following this falling trend line, what kind of scenario played out? After testing this falling trend line a few times, we had a very, very bullish move. I mean, when the price of Ethereum was in an uptrend and was following this falling trend line type of formation, you can see we had a very, very bullish move, which later looked like descending broadening wedge. A descending broadening wedge is a bullish continuation pattern, and even here, when the price of Ethereum during uptrend was following this falling trend line, you can see it was preparing itself for another bullish continuation. So right now, the price of Ethereum looks like following this descending broadening wedge type of formation. So if we do manage to remain above this 3,600, 3,500 in between that range, then I think we could be following another continuation, which might look somehow like this. I mean, price of Ethereum after some sideways movement, after some weakness, to head towards our sell point, because any sort of a pullback at the moment, you can see Ethereum has a strong line of support. Yes, you heard that correctly, guys. Ethereum has a strong support from this Williams alligator indicator. You can see this is our Williams alligator indicator, this trend line, and this same trend line, since we are above it, will be acting as support in case of a pullback, right? Along with that, even the CryptoAnup buy sell indicator, our band here, will be acting as support in case of a pullback. And even the Bollinger Band, the center line, will be acting as support. So what I'm trying to pinpoint is that as long as the price of Ethereum remains above these key trend lines, these indicators, any sort of a pullback will be looked as a temporary pullback before expecting another bullish continuation. So please do not get fooled. And now let's jump into Bitcoin price action. Looking at this price action of Bitcoin, again, nothing much has changed. I mean, Bitcoin is following this descending broadening wedge, a bullish continuation pattern. So if this bullish continuation pattern plays out, I have been very clear with you guys, 130,000, 140,000 in between that range is where we are expecting this trend to get attracted. But in the medium short term, if Bitcoin shows exhaustion, even pullback, then please do not confuse yourself, because if you look at the price structure around this area here in a smaller time frame, you can see we could be forming another symmetrical triangle type of formation. I mean, if you zoom out around this area, then you can see looks like forming a symmetrical triangle. Previously, a symmetrical triangle breakout led to a very bullish move. So same thing could be unfolding in our case as well if we break out of this upper trend line, which is going to be acting as resistance around $119,000. But what if it fails? What if the price of Ethereum fails to break out of this upper trend line? What in that case? In that case, we are still going to remain bullish, and the pullback will be looked as a temporary pullback in which we will be following this falling wedge pattern. I mean, if Bitcoin fails to break out of this 119,000 resistance line, starts with another corrective move to the downside, you can see this lower trend line will be looked as our support, and price after that could be following this falling wedge pattern, a very bullish continuation pattern. So any sort of a pullback, just like with the Ethereum, you can see we have extremely important support lying for Bitcoin, so we should not be bothered. I mean, as long as price remains above this key trend line, we should not be bothered, because right now, if you look at our indicators, Williams Alligator indicator is holding us, CryptoAnup indicator is there, but there are still two things which we have to take into consideration. I mean, if you look at this daily MACD, the daily MACD has just flashed a bearish cross, and along with that, if you look at this RSI, you can see RSI was clearly overbought, and before we headed towards the overbought, we also formed a bearish divergence. So please do not over leverage yourself, guys. Market is expected to be very volatile, not just only because of this price action, but even because of this news. I mean, Fed Chair Jerome Powell to deliver speech tomorrow, which is today, at 8:30 a.m. EST. Guys, this speech will determine whether it's going to be a breakout in this manner, Bitcoin following this inverse head and shoulder type of formation, Livermore pivotal point theory formation, or a continuation towards the neckline first, right? And only after that, a reversal like this. Yes, you heard that correctly, guys. Bitcoin right now is forming a very interesting scenario. So we will desperately wait which line gets broken first. If it's going to be a breakout from our upper trend line, then what I just showed you here, we are going to start with a new bullish continuation, just like from this past price action. Otherwise, we are going to look for another opportunity around this lower trend line. I mean, Bitcoin following a bearish continuation pattern known as descending triangle. You can see this is a bearish continuation pattern. So if Bitcoin fails to break out of this resistance, a move like this, then we will look at this as a bearish continuation for the immediate short term. But even if this bearish continuation plays out, let's suppose something negative coming out from Jerome Powell's speech today, right? Even in that case, even if the price starts falling to the downside, I am not going to be bothered, because we know Bitcoin has a very strong support lying above 112, 113,000. So any sort of a pullback will be looked as a temporary pullback. And if you also add our leading indicator, you can see even according to our leading indicator, price simply closing above $106,000, we are going to print an ascending CPR. I mean, if Bitcoin closes the monthly candle above $106,000, we are going to print an ascending CPR, and we know ascending CPR only gets formed during uptrend. So even if the price starts bearish move in this manner, but manages to remain above this key trend line, right, which I just showed you, I mean, above this CryptoAnup buy sell indicator, Williams Alligator indicator, you can see we are going to print a new ascending CPR, which only gets formed during uptrend, which will also indicate bullishness for the month of August. Yes, guys, Bitcoin closing the monthly candle above 106,000 means we are going to look the upcoming month, August, also to favor the long. So any sort of a doubt, I suggest you guys to simply zoom out, but definitely follow this event, which is going to happen today 8:30 a.m. EST. So guys, these were some of the quick update that I wanted to share with you in this video. If you enjoyed my work, then please do not hesitate to destroy that like button, and to those individuals watching this for the first time, to hit that subscribe button. And by saying this, I'm signing out until next time. Bye bye.